Look, a number of people thought that the Warriors dynasty would be done if KD was gone. Well, what did they do? Warriors went out and acted like a top-rated organization. Reports are they are finalizing a sign and trade deal with the Nets to land all-star point guard D'Angelo Russell. A move that would send Andre Iguodala to Memphis. Nick, what do you make of it? New look Warriors come next season now.
All those people that thought the dynasty was done are absolutely still correct. D'Angelo Russell, listen, credit to them for getting something for Kevin Durant. For his when he walked out the door, wasn't going to open up any cap space. You got a legitimate all-star guard in D'Angelo Russell, and it should help them tread water next season until Clay gets back. Because I think Clay will play next year. Unlike Durant, I think Clay's going to come back. You don't miss a full 12 season. Absolutely, you don't miss a full 12 months typically with an ACL tear. So I think he'll be back. But this move helps the Warriors compete for that 6-7 seed, and then when Clay gets back, be a tough out in the first round of the playoffs. But the Warriors, as we know them, are done. And trading away Andre Iguodala is part of, I mean, this is a cold world now, man. I mean, not only trading him away, trading him to Memphis.
Well, his comments last week about how he was misdiagnosed and Kevin Durant might have been misdiagnosed because Iggy, it's amazing when you win. People talk about his leadership, but he's a prickly guy. He says some strange things at strange times.
So if people don't know, Andre Iguodala was on the Breakfast Club and said, listen, I had a stress fracture in my leg. The team kept calling. I think Iggy probably had the knowledge that if KD leaves, they're going to try to execute some type of sign and trade. And the only way to make that happen, he's the contract that would have to go out the door. So listen, for the Warriors, they go into next season. Who's their front court? It's Draymond. I know they're going to try to keep Kevon Looney, but with this, there's cap implications. They're hard capped. I don't think they're going to be able to keep Looney. They have Alfonso McKinney. They have Damian Jones. Who else do they have? So the Warriors are going, they are better than they otherwise would be because they have D'Angelo Russell, but they're not a contender to win the conference, much less win a championship, and that's even when Clay gets healthy.
And it allows them, Steph's going to play more off the ball. D'Angelo Russell's going to bring the ball up, and Steph is one of the best we've seen in the league through the playoffs as far as running off picks. But from a defensive standpoint, they are going to have a hell of a time staying with the guards in the Western Conference with Steph and D'Angelo both being challenged athletically and both not being great defenders.
You agree with Nick that you see them more in that 6-7 spot right now?
I'm not, Jenna, everything happened last night. I'm not getting in the seeding people. Nick's got the free agents rated. Who's the best on the board? No, I'm not thinking about that right now. I believe they still are a playoff team, but a threat to be able to win a title? Absolutely not.
And what they also did by trading for Russell, and maybe it's the right move, is they had the opportunity to potentially, if they were a year from now, going to let Draymond walk, open up real cap space and try to retool this team. Now they are locked in. Steph Curry's got $40 million plus a year coming each of the next 3 years. Clay, we just heard, $35 million on average over the next 5 years. And they signed D'Angelo Russell to a deal that averages $29 million. There's your salary cap. Right. They now once again have 3 max players, but Clay's coming off a torn ACL, and the other max guy, instead of being Kevin Durant, is D'Angelo Russell. And Steph Curry, by the way, is 31 years old. So the Warriors, they have a new building. It's a multi-billion dollars. They have a lot of people they need. They cannot go from where they were to 40 wins. So you make this move. But title contender, absolutely not.
Dynasty's over?
Oh, it's been over for about 2 weeks.
Moving on to Kevin Durant, the reason the dynasty's over. While many thought KD to the Knicks was all but a lock once free agency tipped off, many were wrong, including the Knicks. According to reports, the Knicks were not willing to offer Durant a full max contract as they had concerns about whether the 10-time All-Star would fully recover from his torn Achilles. President of the team, Steve Mills, had this to say: while we understand that some Knicks fans could be disappointed with tonight's news, we continue to be upbeat and confident in our plans to rebuild the Knicks to compete for championships in the future through both the draft and targeted free agents. Cris Carter, what was your reaction when you heard this?
Man, you can't lose Kevin Durant. When the lottery balls and you lose Zion, you cannot lose Kevin Durant. Not for money. Not when Golden State, how much Golden State offer him?
What? 5 years, $221 million.
Yeah, so we knew everyone else was going to offer the max, so you can't lose the job on arrival based on money. And I just felt from the beginning, knowing that Kevin Durant, his personal doctor, is also the team doctor for the Nets. So this is the second surgery. Durant had a Jones fracture early in his career. He did the surgery when a couple other doctors did surgery where they weren't successful. And then now with the Achilles, he reattached the Achilles. So for me, as we saw with Kawhi, these guys, LeBron's got his own guy. These big guys, they want their doctor to be a part of the decision-making as far as their careers go, because all of them have guaranteed money.
Yep.
So with him being part of the staff with the Nets, I don't know how the Knicks even come up with the conversation, because an Achilles injury is not the injury it was 20 years ago. With modern technology, with the rehab that they have, we have seen not the greatest of athletes in Boogie Cousins and others come back within 7 to 12 months.
And see, where do the Knicks get off, with respect, thinking they are the smartest team in the league? And by that, I mean the Warriors offered him a full max. The Nets offered him a full max. The Clippers were ready to offer him a full max. The Knicks are the team that just knows better. They're the team that is, no. We actually are wiser than these other teams. I get it. You got burnt by Antonio McDyess.
No, I don't believe it was the team. I don't believe it was Steve Mills. And no, I don't believe it was their general manager.
It's the owner.
You think it was Dolan?
That's all it could be.
Of course. That's what I was leading to. I get, because before those people were in place, Jim Dolan got burnt by McDyess, and then got burnt by Amari Stoudemire, and then felt like you got burnt by Joakim Noah when you paid big money to players with injured histories, and maybe it's one of the reasons they were afraid of committing.
Those guys aren't Kevin Durant.
No, of course they're not Kevin Durant. And I sat here on this show the day after they traded Kristaps Porzingis and yelled, for anyone that would listen, defending that move, because the plan was Kevin Durant. And I understand that Durant popping his Achilles threw a big wrench in that plan. And maybe Durant was going to change that plan on his own by picking someone different. You always knew that was possible. But for you to, if Jim Dolan made Steve Mills or Scott Perry, if this is true, and he told them, you cannot offer Kevin Durant the max, then you might as well offer him the minimum. There's no chance he's coming there for not the max. It's insulting to him when other people are offering him the max. But why do they think they know better? Why do they think they know better than the Warriors, who wasn't just 5 years, $221? It was going to be another $600 million in luxury tax it was going to cost them. Jim Dolan, though, continues to be Jim Dolan. And so that's why.
Wait, do you guys think that had the Knicks offered Kevin Durant the max, he'd be a Knick this morning?
Yes. That was all the intel. Everything was leading to him with the Knicks. All this conversation, we didn't make this stuff up. Like, we knew he was coming to the East Coast, and everything pointed toward the Knicks. But the thing you have to realize, too, also in the report, it talks about the Knicks talking about the max being contingent upon seeing the x-rays and seeing the procedure with Kevin Durant. Free agency was just open. They weren't allowed to be able to see the medicals until 6 o'clock. So Durant and them were like, we want the max regardless of what it says, which, if you have the history that the Knicks have, where you have been, you've missed on players, and you can't see the medicals, because I don't know why Durant and them wouldn't just up with the medicals from the beginning. If everything worked out, everything checked out, I don't know why you wouldn't be just giving. I don't know why you wouldn't be giving that to the Knicks. So this was a little confusing. At the 23rd hour, the Knicks were confused too.
Cris reported the Knicks thought they were in it until, I mean, you called me at 5 p.m. yesterday?
Yes.
5 p.m. yesterday that you had been informed, the Knicks were informed, they were out of it. And so they thought they were potentially in it. I don't know if KD, even if they had offered him the max, would he have said, you know what, DeAndre, Kyrie, I can't convince those guys to come to Manhattan, so I'll just go with them in Brooklyn. Maybe that sway would have been too much, and maybe the team doctor, maybe this all changed when he tore his Achilles, because the team doctor's in Brooklyn, because his own personal doctor, all those things. But I know this. The Knicks have the benefit of the arena, the city, and a media that so badly wants them to be good, that has so many prominent members of the media, none happen to be on this show, but prominent members of the media that grew up diehard Knicks fans, that friends of ours, damn near in tears when they don't get Zion, when things like this happen. They have so many things pulling in their direction. And then they have Jim Dolan constantly pulling the rug out from underneath them, just constantly undercutting what they can be. And it's a damn shame, because the franchise put itself in position to be a huge winner last night, and now I feel like everyone thinks they're a huge loser last night.
I think in this new day with these younger athletes, I think it's blown out of proportion. And I'm just going to make sure that I try to say this the right way. Younger players don't care about playing in Madison Square Garden. That's a dying breed. Kobe cared, Jordan cared, LeBron is a historian of the game. He cares a little bit more, but these guys don't care about playing in the Garden. The lure of playing in Madison Square Garden is not what it used to be. It's not the pull that it had on other athletes. So playing in Brooklyn, I've been to Penny games at the Garden and at the Barclays. Oh, they got a nice product at the Barclays. They got a good team on the court. So for me, I just think we need to stop thinking athletes are going to be drawn to one of these sports stories that, oh, man, I want to play at the Garden. Right now, playing at the Garden, what does it mean? It means nothing.
And we've got to recognize that there is an enormous difference between the New Jersey Nets and the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes.
As far as the ability for players to have all the accoutrement, all the benefit of what a lot of people consider the greatest city in the world, and not have to go, like, you can live here and play for Brooklyn.
So people that don't live in New York City, people that are outside the city, don't realize how close Brooklyn actually is to Madison Square. It's a subway ride.
It's a subway. It takes you 15 minutes for the subway to get from MSG to Barclays. And so when it was the New Jersey Nets, it was different. But the one last point, you're not going to offer Kevin Durant $37 million. The owner won't let you. But you offer Julius Randle and Bobby Portis a combined $37 million.